Hi guys, this is Tinka, and today we're gonna have another video about LARP. So I did a poll on my community page asking what LARP related videos people might be interested in, and the most voted one was LARP 101, how to begin LARPing. I want this to be like a chill video. I have my tea, I have my witch hat, I have my new camera. So before we jump into it, I have a handful of disclaimers. One is that I have been LARPing for 2 years, but one of those years was a plague year. So I only have 1 year of actual experience. My second disclaimer is that this is for in-person LARPing. I know that there's been a trend these days of doing like virtual LARPing on like TikTok. I don't know much about that. I'm definitely interested in that, but that's not something which I will be talking about today. Third is that this is for local, like campaign LARPs. I know there are some like big fancy LARPs, which would be different, I think, of finding them. So this is kind of like the casual, you go once a month, once every couple months, and have a continuous story and a continuous character. Part 1 is going to be how to find a LARP. Part 2 is how to prep for your first game. And Part 3 is going to be some extra tips from my friends who have been LARPing for a little longer than I have. Another thing I want to say is that I have a friend who has been doing kind of like a LARP 101 series on TikTok. I would highly suggest you check her out. I'll put her information here and in the description. I think her online thing is like Jax in the Box. She's also an amazing singer. Right, so with all of that, let's jump into it. Step 1 is going to be finding a LARP. So I got lucky. I found my LARP because a friend recommended it to me. I knew this person from anime conventions. They did a photo shoot for me, and then they posted on Facebook asking if anybody would be interested in LARPing. So I said yes, sign me up, and that's how I found it. This is a great way to find LARPs. If you can find a LARP with a friend who's gone there and would recommend it, that's the best way. But a lot of people don't have that option. So if you're one of those people, what do you do? Step 1 is Googling LARPs in your area. Remember, I drive around 4 hours to my LARP, sometimes longer, so don't be shy if you can drive a little farther to it to extend your search a bit. For example, when I was looking for new LARPs, I would be looking in Connecticut, Massachusetts, New Hampshire. Pull up their website if they have one. Make sure you like the vibe, make sure to check the location, make sure you like the lore, the genre that it's in. Maybe it's a post-apocalyptic LARP, maybe you don't want to go to see zombies, maybe that scares you. Obviously, look at that. Second, find a Facebook group. Now, this is something that I would highly recommend to new LARPers. Even if you haven't been to the LARP, you can request to become a member, and you can go in there and ask questions and make friends even before you show up. The 2 LARPs that I have like lined up after the plague ends also have very active Facebook groups, which I am a part of. And having a community that it would be posting, you know, a couple times a day, a couple times a week, and having that interaction is just really important. Third, you want to look up LARP content. So this is YouTube videos, Reddits, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, all the stuff. See what people are saying about it. See what people have created around it. YouTube vlogs, I think, are super important for this. For example, one of the LARPs that I want to go to post-plague is called Blessings. It's a post-apocalyptic LARP here in Massachusetts. So I had a friend of a friend who went and recommended it to me. So I started kind of looking more about it online. So I saw Kaza Marie, hopefully I'm pronouncing her name correctly. She posted a vlog about it. So I checked it out and I thought that, oh, it's obviously like woman friendly, it looks really cool. The community is obviously nice enough to like support a video like that. So yeah, that kind of sold me. I'm also gonna have a quick list of stuff to look at while you're looking at LARPs. So we have, first, location. Is it a good location? Can you drive there? Second, do they have cabin rates? This is when it is possible for you to be attacked while sleeping in a cabin. I don't like this. I kind of want to sleep at night and I need some time to like completely cool down, get out of character. Third is it a full contact LARP or is it lightest touch? The one that I go to is lightest touch. So that means technically people can't go and just like actually physically fight you. still get bruises, people still get super carried away with like, you know, the fighting, but in general you're not supposed to actually like hit someone. You're supposed to just kind of tap them as light as you can. They're also way more strict when it comes to weapons. You have to get everything checked out logistics. And then finally, is it minority friendly? Are they okay with LGBTQ? Would they respect your pronouns? A lot of LARPs have pronoun pins, you know, he, him, they, them, that you can just pin onto your character. They're kind of in decorum, they're really cute. So that's something to think about. Maybe ask an admin of a Facebook page, do they have pronoun pins? Is that something that they can provide? Is that something that they wouldn't mind you wearing? Keep an eye out to make sure that the LARP is POC friendly. If they have people of color in the staff, that's a great sign. If you look through their gallery and there's a lot of people of color, that's also a good thing if you know that the community is a diverse community. And also check if they have any racist stereotypes in their lore. This is unfortunately something which is very common in fantasy, just rooted into the genre. So that's something that you want to look at. All right, so you have found a LARP that you're interested in going to. So now you have to prepare for a game. First things first is read the rules. This will usually come into two parts. One is the lore of the universe, and the second is the rules of how to play the game, like the game mechanics. So I would highly suggest you read both of these, but also don't obsess over them. You're a new player. People are gonna expect you to get things wrong or not remember stuff. If you have someone giving you issues for not memorizing your character card your first game, then second we'll be making a character. And this is when it gets like really fun, right? This is what everybody wants. So definitely start off with reading the lore. A lot of LARPs don't have like a pure Tolkien fantasy lore. They have some of their own tweaks on it, so definitely read that over. Read through the different species and races that you can be. Read through the different areas you can be coming from. You don't have to memorize like the full map, but maybe memorize like the general idea of where your character wants to be from. Another thing that you could build into your character if you're scared about this is have some kind of reason why your character doesn't know the world. For example, my character is like a drunk satyr who wanders around in the woods for the last couple of years. Like, she doesn't know anything. So when I came in, I'm like, oh, what's Cormire? People are like, oh, that's that city. And I'm like, oh, well, I've never been there. And people are fine with that. You know, it actually leads to more repeat because people do like talking in character universe stuff. Another thing to think about is that if you're going with friends or if you know friends who are already there, think about character ties. Character ties are kind of pre-written relationships between you and another character. They really help with like initial roleplay. They're not necessary, but they might help you, especially if you're newer to roleplay. Another thing that I kind of want to highlight when it comes to character creation is that LARP is different from D&D or online LARPing. Your character is not the main character of the plot. So if you have this grand backstory of like your brother killed your family and you are out for revenge to kill your brother, that might be difficult to do. It's super interesting. You should try to write NPCs into your background. You should try to have that, but don't rely on those things. Next, something that you might want to think about is to run your character idea by the admins. Sometimes there are specific places on like a website or a Facebook group where people would ask you to run your characters by them. Definitely do that so you know if you have to change anything before you go. Make sure that it's, you know, approved for the story, that you're not being like the princess of the kingdom and they'll be like, actually there's another princess in the kingdom that's been written in as an NPC, so you can't be the princess. That kind of stuff. So next would be creating a outfit. So as a first-time LARPer, feel free to keep this simple. Find stuff in your closet. Go thrift shopping, buy stuff online, but it really doesn't have to be too complicated. For example, look at the clothes that I'm wearing. I have my little witch hat, I have this shawl that I just around the house, I have a little cottagecore shirt on and a skirt. To kind of complete this costume, I might add a belt and a little pouch so I can keep stuff in. Really, it doesn't have to be too complicated. So you have read the rules, you've read the lore, you've created a character, ran them by logistics, and created an outfit. Next step is to pack for your first game. So this varies a lot per game or per weather, but there are a couple basics which I think is a good idea to keep in mind. I will put a list right here. So first thing first is dress for the weather. If it's going to be very hot, Make sure you won't die of heat stroke. If it's gonna be cold, make sure you have layers. I think a lot of people will tell you that you need good shoes for LARP. You're going to be running around quite a bit. So definitely look for good shoes. During the winter, I just straight up wear hiking boots. Second is a small pouch. This should be big enough to hold your phone, to hold your character card, and any other kind of necessities that you want to keep on you. I would suggest not to pull out your phone during game, but just for emergencies, I find it very important to keep it on me. Third is water. Even if it's winter, you want to have some kind of water bottle. I have a plastic water bottle that I kind of hook onto my character's belt. Very easy, very simple. There's a place where we can refill it in the main lodge. Next would be snacks. Your game might have food, they might not have food. Either way, you want to have something that you could snack on when you're hungry. I would also suggest to have some kind of caffeinated drink because you'll be exhausted. I never drink energy drinks. Like, never. I don't like Red Bull, I don't like Monster. I drink Red Bull at LARP. Get like a canned coffee drink, get a Red Bull, you will thank me at some point. Other thing you have to pack is sanitary items. Please use deodorant, that's very important. Also, I would suggest foot spray that you can spray into your shoe to keep stuff from smelling, because that's also very important. Your cabin mates will thank me. Which is a good thing to bring are just these wipes, either for like makeup wipe or just body wipes. Sometimes you are not going to take a shower at LARP. It's just the nature of the beast. But wipes really help to freshen up. And then of course, toothbrush, toothpaste, moisturizer. Especially if you're wearing makeup, you want to moisturize after taking it off. Just those kind of basic things. Just remember to pack those. Don't be nasty. Finally, I would suggest some painkillers and band-aids. So bring your own band-aids, bring your own painkillers, and be responsible with your own health at LARP. Alright, so you're heading to your first LARP. So my first tip on this would be to arrive early. Definitely check on either the Facebook group or the website to see what time you can get there and what time the game starts. There's also new player orientation, most games, so if you're a new player, I would highly suggest to go to any of these kind of learning orientation things that your game provides from you, because they'll teach you the basics of fighting, they'll teach you the basics of the mechanics, they'll tell you what not to do and what to do. Okay, so now we're in the part 3 where I give kind of personalized tips for my friends. I also kind of want to go over my first LARPing experience. So I had a friend who LARPed and posted on Facebook about it. So I prepped, I asked them questions before I went, which was great. Remember, I left my job and I was driving down. And like an hour and a half into the drive, I hit the worst traffic. So I was alone, sitting in traffic. The GPS kept having like the timer of when you're gonna arrive just go higher and higher. And I called my mom and I'm like, Mama, what the hell am I doing? Why am I here? What if there's just a bunch of weirdos in the woods? What if it's not fun? What if I'm just going to drive like 6 hours because of the traffic down to this place and not gonna have a good time? And my mom was just like, just go. You need this. You just go. And to be honest, I think that's the best advice I can give you, is just go. Alright, so I asked my community for some tips on LARP, so let's go here. First one is go with a buddy, but don't be afraid to venture on your own. I think that's actually very important. It's always good to go with a friend to make yourself feel safe, but if you want to break off from your friend, that's also very important for kind of self-growth and character growth. Whatever you think you need, pack a bit more. Better to be over-prepared than desperate for warmth or food. Don't be afraid to ask others for help, especially with clarifying rules. We're all there to play make-believe. I think that's a very good one. Again, just ask questions. Ask all the questions. Nobody should be mad at you for that. So another thing that I saw a couple people actually posted is don't worry about having a simple costume to start out with. I think one of the beauties about LARP characters' costumes is that the more you're in them, the more you're like collecting new pieces, and that builds your character on yourself. For example, Ella has like a little bell on her choker, and that was from a mod where we had all these like little bells to like ward off these like evil shadow demons. I kind of hide it there during that mod and just never took it off. There's a lot of these little things that you're going to be growing in as a character, and as a newbie, it's totally fine to be, you know, a little bit more casual. Then one of my friends posted, "Don't play a great character, be a great character." So one of my friends said, "Red light is best at night. Use a red Sharpie to cover over your flashlight or red cellophane. Don't kill yours and others' night vision." Right shoes matter. That is very true. LARPing is a group activity, and we're all there to tell a story. In my opinion, it's best to be approached from the eye of the reader rather than the character. You're not always going to win. You're not always going to lose. And in the realm of fantasy, romance, hardships, and betrayal, no one ever wins. At the end of the day, LARP mimics life, and just as you can't win life, you can't win at LARP. So just tell a story. Don't be afraid to just watch and let your character act. That, I think, is brilliant. It's just like Jacob 2021. My friend Ben said, "If you've never LARPed before, consider asking to NPC first if that's how they run. It can help you get more of a feel without high stakes of losing character and making the wrong RP move. And often you'll have veterans there helping." So this is actually really good advice. NPC is a non-player character. Most LARPs have an NPC shift that you have to do anyway. So you can request to just have NP shifts the entire weekend. This really helps you learn the mechanics. It helps you learn the world. It gives you a super easy place to ask questions. You're not killing another's immersion by going out of game and asking questions because you're just an NPC. Then my friend Mark said, "Your health/safety is more important than how your gear looks." This is very important. So he's talking about making sure you don't overheat in summer or making sure you don't freeze in the winter. Kind of an extension of that is if you have to have something, let's say a wrist brace or like an insulin or glasses, like something that you need to function as a human, no LARPs should give you shit for wearing those things. And the last tip is hydrate and make sure you feed yourself. This is very important. Me and my friend who we met at orientation together, we forgot to eat our first LARP because we got so nervous about stuff and so high on adrenaline. We had this like big feast at my LARP, so we were like at a feast and we're like, why are we so nauseous and sick? Oh, it's because we had like a single apple because we just completely got caught up in the story and the adrenaline. So really be careful with eating. Make sure you give yourself breaks, make sure you're going to hydrate, and make sure you have enough energy to make it to the weekend. All right, so I think that that's a pretty simple, I have no idea how long this video is. I feel it's gonna be rather long. If you have any further questions, please comment below. Hopefully once the plague lets up, we'll all be able to go LARPing again. And the people who have discovered it over quarantine will be able to jump into this new hobby, and I hope this helps. And with that, thank you for watching!